Raider Nation, how you guys doing? And welcome to another great episode of The Unfiltered Truth. I'm your host, Phil Jones. Here with me, Phil Robinson III as always, and our special guest. You guys know him. You know his daddy. You know this man will roast you if you got some dumb nonsense to say. The one and only Kenny King Jr. How you doing, man?
What's good, brothers? Just noticed we got a Phil, and a King. But we got a no surname, a junior, and a third. So we go down the suggestion here. What's good, brothers? How you guys doing?
Oh man, I'm doing excellent. It's a beautiful Friday. Sunset is already hitting. I know you guys still got some sunlight out there.
Oh yeah, it's still nice out here.
The sunshine, plenty of that. But you buried the lead. You came out, you introduced our guest, said what's up to this is our 100th episode. I can't believe we've been around this long. They haven't shut us down. No haters got us. Copyright didn't get us either. I ain't gonna speak on that too much louder though, because you know
the SEC been keep an eye on us.
Yeah.
But we have a lot to digest tonight. We're about how many days away from the draft? We're basically a week away from the draft.
6 days away.
6 days.
We are going to find out what will the Raiders do at 17. But this week we had something interesting, and I know I hit on it, you hit on it, Kenny's hit on it. The whole tweet, I can breathe.
Mm-hmm.
I can breathe. That set off quite the firestorm, didn't it? It was nice.
More, if you look at the comment section through it was like, really? Are you serious? This is tone deaf. Delete this. You had everybody from all over the Twitter world just attacking this tweet. And my thoughts were on it. If you know the history of the Raiders, if you know about Mark Davis meant no intention of causing any pain, any hurt. It was more of he had the right intentions. It was just the wrong wording at the time for some folks.
Yeah, I think. Oh,
go on. No. Go.
Yeah. So my thoughts on it. I mean, yeah, knowing the history of the Raiders, knowing what their thoughts are. I think that he didn't have any intention. But I think what really gets me is that you have some of the fans that want to, because I posted a poll and I said, what were your initial reactions? And there was like 78% of people said, oh, it didn't bother me. But then they go into the comments. When you look at the comments, it says, well, his family said that they were fine with it. Okay, that's not your initial thoughts. Your initial thoughts are what you see and what you think when you hear it or when you read it. And that was the initial thoughts. And so my initial thoughts were, what the hell are these? What are they doing? Like, why are you going to put I can breathe? I get it. I get the sentiment. I understand it. I understand where they were trying to go with it. But the direction that they went with it was just completely left.
I looked at it from the point of the origin where it came from when the police department was wearing it on shirts after choking out Eric Garner. Yeah. And for somebody to be as socially aware, aware with what's going on, to miss that one was huge. And to put that up, Illinois Floyd threw him a bone, threw him a life preserver, life jacket, whatever you want to say. Once he said that they didn't have an issue with it, it became a non-story. It just horrible optics. And as you said, it was best laid. The road to hell is paved with the best laid intentions.
Mm-hmm.
And in terms of execution, I had made a comment on Jerry McDonald's tweet that this type of bad, poor execution plagues the Raiders from top to bottom.
Mm-hmm. And it's not only that, when you as a black person you look at it from another standpoint. This has been ongoing. This has been like a everlasting war with blacks dealing with abuse from police officers. And when you see that I can breathe, like, oh, it's like finally over. We finally got justice for all, for good. It's like, no, we're not done. We took one or two steps, but then right after that hearing, you hear one thing and then another thing, and then it's like we didn't just went back to square one again. So
you look at it, and the next day after we had another couple police shootings. And then the day after that, I don't know if I sent it to you, Phil. I know I didn't send it to Kenny, but you have a teacher with her foot on a black student.
Yeah, I saw that. I saw that.
And it's just like, well, I mean, so is this supposed to be the new thing? We don't hang anybody anymore, but we walk around taking pictures with foots on necks.
Right. Yeah, there's so much work that needs to be done. It's not, I think that's the thing, is that while, yes, somebody got charged for, or somebody got convicted for what they were supposed to get convicted for, and that's supposed to be it. But think of all the people that don't get convicted for the stuff that they're supposed to get convicted for. And I think that that's the issue. The fact that this, systemic racism is still something that is prevalent in this world. It's something that's prevalent in this country. And it seems to be worse in this country. You don't see it outside too much. You don't see it in other countries. You see other people fighting. You see the infighting, religious wars and things like that. But, the systemic racism that we have in this country has been plaguing it since we were brought over here. And so I don't see, until people can get that through their head, until people can understand that this won't go away unless people change, until you actually do something and not just tweet and not just be out there on social media and act all tough, nothing is going to change. And I think that's the problem, is that there's so many people that just don't see things, or they say, well, don't do stupid shit and you won't get shot. It's like, no, don't fucking shoot people. Sorry, pardon my language, but
Oh, we cuss all
the time. Let it drop, man.
Yeah, let it rain free.
Yeah,
I get angry sometimes. So.
Let it be free. No, it is very angering, and not only that, but it's like, look, man, everybody has this comments about what you should do, what you should say, but when you comply, when your hands are up, when your back is turned, when you're handcuffed in a police car already in custody, and somehow manage in the next 5 minutes to find yourself on the ground getting the life squeezed out of you by 4 cops, what happened then?
Right.
Like what made that okay for cops to break procedure to take a man out of custody, march him around every street corner until they presumably could find a corner that didn't have a camera, block the rest of the cameras with their cars, and then kill somebody in broad day.
I'm gonna be real. So I'm gonna be real. There's been a couple times I've been in Baltimore, and I've been in that situation where I was like, is he gonna take me to the patrol car? Is he gonna have me roll up to one of these parks and leave me there beaten to death? Because that was the whole thing that went down in Baltimore City. They would take some of the so-called suspects, have you in the back of the car, beat your ass, and then leave your ass in the park somewhere. And the one time that they rolled up on me thinking that I had robbed one of the gas stations from near the harbor, I got nervous as hell. My heart started beating. I was like, I heard the stories, and I'm just like, look, you can ask everybody around. I literally just came out of this restaurant. It took the manager to run out there to clear that up. You had so many people that were sitting in the restaurant that was saying he didn't do anything. He just came out of here. He was sitting down eating. The manager had to run out last minute to clear it up. Makes no damn sense. So when I hear people say, oh, what did you comply? Did you? No. I'm sick of hearing that shit. I'm sick of it.
Just another way to invalidate the person that receiving the beating. Because throughout this whole Floyd trial, all you heard was Floyd's priors. Never mind the fact Chauvin had a lengthy history of police brutality. But we didn't talk about
14-year-old. Yeah,
we don't talk about that.
Talk about that though.
Kenny, I feel like you're drinking a sour beer right now.
C4. Where is that? I got a little C4.
I
don't know why I'm drinking an energy drink at 5:30, but it's gonna be lit in a minute.
Man, he about to do some backflips. Oh shit.
Well, then maybe we should change gears and get to the business at hand and talk about football. Since we've covered the social justice aspect of today's episode.
Yeah.
Pick 17. Where are you going with this?
With pick 17, I want to see the Raiders take Micah Parsons. I think that if he falls to 17, that would be a dream come true. I think that would be what we need in the defense. We need a dog out there. We need somebody who's going to be able to be that Bobby Wagner for Gus Bradley. I think that he would be a perfect fit. He's mean. He's nasty. He comes from PSU, linebacker university. I think that he would be a perfect fit. Now, do I think the Raiders are going to take him? Who knows? I mean, we've seen the Raiders fall in love with guys, and they'll take them, wherever they want to take them at. And I think that's the question is, are we going to take him, or are they going to do another reach?
I think they're going to take him. I think they know there's been problems with the defense. They haven't had a playmaker. And you've heard this from Mike Mayock before, saying we need a playmaker.
Yep.
You have some folks thinking that, well, didn't we draft Abrams in the first round? Didn't you draft Farrell in the first round? Didn't you draft Arnett in the first round? We haven't seen it yet.
I mean, look.
It's time.
The only playmaker drafted. Yeah, I mean, playmakers drafted in the first round realistically have been on offense. Josh Jacobs and Henry Ruggs. And look, I'm not knocking Klee. I love Farrell. I think that he's a solid player. I think he's a guy that fits in the defense well. I think he does his job very well. But like I had Coach Buckner on my pod and we were talking about it. He was saying, basically with Klee, the issue is that Klee is a product of where he was drafted. If Klee was drafted at 24, if Klee was drafted at 28, we wouldn't be having these conversations about Cleveland Farrell. But because he was drafted at 4, and there were so many other defensive ends that were taken after him, that's where the issue lies.
No, I would agree with that one because we saw Josh Allen as really being that guy. Like, okay, you get Josh Allen, there's a possibility you either get Cleve Farrell or you get Montez Sweat. But, he's sitting there at 4. They went and took him. And then they thought they were going to try to get Montez Sweat. And then, the Redskins stepped in. It's all history. But I think they're going to go and grab Parson. If he's sitting there, you got to grab him. This is the guy that will bully you the entire game. He will get inside your head. And when you thought he was done with you, think again. He's coming back for more. Everybody talks about, can he cover the tight end? He can cover the tight end. Can he play sideline to sideline? Hey, guess what? Billy Mays here. He can cover sideline to sideline. Ask him Mike Parson. And that's what we haven't had that in a long time. I mean, don't get me wrong. I like Kwiatkowski. I like Corey Littleton. We saw Corey Littleton had the rough patch in the first half, but when you saw the last couple of games at the end of the season, things start to come together when you got rid of Paul Gunther and that crazy complex defense. So there's hope for this team. There's hope for this D-line. You add Parson, hey, it just makes it even better.
Yeah.
Who does he replace is the question.
I would say he replaces Morrow.
That's what I would.
Yeah, I mean,
too, but you just paid Morrow all that money to come back.
I mean, look, I think that while you pay him all that money, at the same time, if you got a guy like Micah Parsons that can steal that job, that kind of depth with Nick Morrow is something that you need. That's something the Raiders haven't had for a very long time. Whereas they'll have playmakers at some positions, but there's never depth. So if somebody goes down, you're screwed. You know, and that's what I kind of like about what they've done. You know, adding 50,000 defensive tackles in free agency. You know, bringing back Carl Joseph, bringing back Nick Morrow, bringing in some guys that if something happens, we've got depth. We've got guys that have been around, guys that know what to do, guys that can actually make some plays. We're not sticking, you know, an Arden Key out there to put us in a situation to where, you know, we could potentially lose a game on a face mask. And so that's the things that kind of stand out to me is at least they're making moves on depth. There hasn't been a lot of sexy signings on defense. Yes, we got Yannick, but as far as defense goes, there hasn't been a ton of sexy signings, but there's been solid moves for depth. And so I think that you get a guy like Parsons, that's a sexy draft pick right there. And that's something the Raiders could build off of defensively.
I agree wholeheartedly with you. I think that if he's there, you definitely got to take him because if you stop and you look at history, the Raiders haven't had a Pro Bowl off-ball linebacker since '88.
Yep.
That's a long time.
It's a real long time.
Real long time.
I wasn't even born yet then.
And that's the crazy thing is the Raiders used to have some great defenses. That's what the Raiders were known for. The Raiders were known for some great defenses that would just smack you in the mouth. And the Raiders have gotten away from that. And in this league, in this division, when you're facing Justin Herbert, when you're facing Patrick Mahomes, you got to have a good defense. You got to have linebackers that can cover tight ends because we have 2 tight ends or 3 tight ends in this division that can run, that can catch, that can move, that can score. And if you let them get behind you, they're gonna make you look stupid.
I'm gonna say all 4. I'm gonna tell folks, don't underestimate Donald Parham.
Parham's coming into his own.
Man, I said, look, we should have drafted him.
Should have.
Man,
I just want to see some more. I want to see some more Foster Moreau this year.
Yes.
No, definitely. Oh my God.
Yes. You know what? Our goal line, our red zone offense you should have Brian Edwards out there. You should have Darren Waller. And you should have Foster Moreau. They should be on the field at all times when you get inside the 20.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Because I'm just like, old man Witten. Yeah, that wasn't it, man. That was, you know, I respect his career and all, but
yeah.
When I saw that tight end screen to him, where he got roughly 3 steps, and 2 of them were lateral steps before he took one forward and got tackled instantly. He was like, "Why the fuck is he out here? Like seriously, what is he really doing?" He talks a good game in practice. When you get him on the field, he's got a mouth on him, but what the fuck is he doing? He's taking away snaps from a young guy who had 7 touchdowns last season. Why is that guy not getting any playing time?
Yeah. That's the guy that needs to get the playing time. That's the guy. And they were all in the red zone. He was the target. He was the guy. And I think that, you know, as Darren Waller's legend grows, they're going to put more players on him. And that's where you use Foster Moreau. That's where you use a Brian Edwards. That's where you use Alec Ingold. Those are the guys that you want to get the ball to in the red zone because they're probably going to triple team Waller. And so there's going to be other players that are open. They're going to have to stop somebody.
So, and, you know, expect this, but I do expect to see the Raiders drafting the tight end this year. There's one guy that's caught my eye out of NC State. Excellent blocker for run and pass, but when he gets out and running his routes, you know, standing at 6'8", he just snags them. It's one guy we can grab. You know, I got his name right here.
You got that.
I'm going to tell you this.
Off the top of his head, his route running, how tall he is, but you can't remember what his name is.
Yeah, no, it just hit me, man. Don't bully me. Carrie Engelline.
You thinking like a day 3 pick?
Yeah. A day 3 pick / steal, in my opinion.
We got a lot of picks in day 3, so.
And he's a guy we can actually literally just grab him in the 6th round. Be a steal. Everybody just be like, oh, we don't got to run with what's that? Derek Carrier, who we see for maybe about 2 games and then fades off in the special teams.
His 1 catch on the season.
Hey, he was a great special teams player, though.
I would hope.
Yeah.
I would hope.
Yeah,
I would hope.
But you know what?
If you're getting 1 catch on the season, you better ball out on special teams.
Getting $1 million a catch salary.
Yeah.
Hey, that's why we got Tanner Muse ready to go. He's going to be the new special teams ace. He's going to take it down. He's going to be running 4.3 speed, shutting everything down on punt returns and kickoff returns. This man's going to be doing some John Woo moves just to make the stop. But that foot, man, if that foot end up messing him up, man, it's all over.
Turf toe is hard to come back from, man. Turf toe. But I really hope Tanner Muse pans out. I hope that if he is a stud on special teams, if he blocks some punts, if he blocks some kicks, if he makes some plays on special teams, then at least it'll be worth it. If he gets hurt again, then it's like, shit, man, this dude's injury prone now, because turf toe it's hard to come back from. And, we saw what it did to Charles Woodson. It put him in a position where he ended up losing the step to move to safety. Now, obviously, he still had a Hall of Fame career, and he was able to overcome it because he is the GOAT. But, this is Tanner Muse that we're talking about. He's not Charles Woodson. He's not a Deion Sanders. And so, we don't know how he's going to come back, and we haven't seen what he can do on the field. And I think that the conversations that were had during camp are what, gets us the most worried about it, because, it seemed that he looked lost. He didn't know what he was doing. And I'm sure a lot of it was Paul Guenther, because Paul Guenther looked lost and didn't know what he was doing. But I think that as a Raider fan, and you guys know me, I try to stay positive on things. I want to see everybody succeed. I want to see. I want to see it. I want to see him succeed. I want to see him do well. But at the same time, I also want. If we have an opportunity to have a playmaker out there, I don't want him to be the option.
No, definitely. And then
I was just marveling at how deep he was struggling for Tanner Muse. I sincerely hope that when the agent sends you the check for that glowing endorsement, I at least see half of it. Because that little monologue you did about Tanner Muse was enough to make my skin crawl.
I did call the pick when we got it. I was like, we're probably gonna end up getting Tanner Muse. You were like, who? What?
I had to look it up. I had to look him up. I had to Google it. I wanted. Look, it doesn't matter what I want. I
I was diving deep into Clemson. I was like, you know what? Let me look at a few of these guys that we could probably snag offensively, defensively. And I was like, okay, we went with offense. Okay, what's the possibility of us going defense with Clemson? Who's out? Who else is out there? I was like, you know what? We're probably going to go Tanner Muse. Lo and behold. But if he does pan out, I want to see it. I want the best. I want to see them get all these guys up to speed. I want Bradley and his guys to truly develop these defenders, something that they haven't seen in the past 2 or 3 seasons with Paul Guenther and his staff. They truly need it. I feel that once we see it, we're going to see defense like we've never seen it before, as Raider fans within the late 2000s.
Yeah. I mean, look, Gus Bradley's had some good defenses. He's had some great defenses.
Yeah.
And even that Chargers, this is the thing with Gus Bradley's Chargers defenses is that he had, 15 guys out at one point? I mean, he had so many players that were on the injured reserve. So, first of all, we got to keep guys healthy.
And that was the thing. Like, with all those guys that were on the injured reserve, his backup stepped up big time.
Yeah.
And like you had these guys on practice squads, and you still managed to get your defense in the top 10. I mean, score defense wasn't the greatest, but stopping the run, stopping the pass, that was pretty good.
Yeah.
No, and Gus Bradley has proven to be proven everywhere he's gone. He's ended up with a top 10 defense within his third year of being the defensive coordinator there. With all of the draft capital that's been committed to the Raiders, you would think that he and his staff, which excel at developing players, would be able to get the most out of them. And that's really what has been lacking, as you said and as Kenny said, is that we got to get these young guys coached up, playing a system that they can operate, that they can thrive in, and an attack-based defense is proven to be better than sitting back in zone waiting to react off what the offense does. That ate them up last year and is absolutely something that they can't afford to do moving forward in 2020.
Yeah, you've got two quarterbacks that we face in the AFC West that if you let them get the ball last, that could hurt us. And that's Pat Mahomes and Justin Herbert. If they have the ball last, then and the defense is out of place, then that could hurt us. And so those are the things that you got to worry about. And like you said, you got to attack. You got to get sacks. You got to get turnovers. That's the biggest thing that the Raiders have lacked in the past few years is sacks and turnovers. The turnover differential has been horrible. So you got to get after the ball. Got to make moves to do it. That's why the Raiders, even though the defense wasn't that great in 2016, we got turnovers and they made plays when it mattered. How many times did Khalil Mack come up big? How many times did Reggie Nelson come up big? Even Sean Smith. Like, those are the things that you got to look at. It's like the defense wasn't that great, but they made things happen when it mattered. And that's what you need is you need some guys that are bend but don't break.
Timely turnovers absolutely turn games around and win games and can mask an okay defense. You've got, but when you look at this particular team, we all comment on how they need a pass rush. This pass rush was ranked 14th, 15th in hurries. Their problem was that they could get there but not finish. And if they even finish 50% of the plays that they didn't finish last year, then that will skyrocket this very same defense that everybody will tell you is the worst defense in Raider history, sucks, can't win with them, which sadly and oddly enough, they weren't even the worst defense in the league last season. But it's amazing what a little perspective can do for you and when you get to a smooth trip through the fields. But these guys aren't that far away. They need discipline. A lot of what you see is the problem is between the ears, is trying to figure out where they're supposed to be, what they're supposed to do. How do we operate in this particular scheme? How do we operate when the coach is changing the plays? When he literally, the communication cuts off with him telling you the play.
Yeah.
It's a Bradley coming in, Bradley, Miles, and a proven staff coming in is going to be good for these young players. Now, what I'm curious to see about is just how much voices that Marinelli, who was the only holdover from the last defensive regime, has with Bradley.
I don't think that's going to be a problem. I think that they're all going to see eye to eye. I don't think when Marinelli was with Gunther, you definitely knew they didn't see it. Marinelli was like, what the hell is this? What did I walk into? Look, you got to get rid of this guy. And I know some of the other players were like, that probably came on to the team was like, look, I can't do this. But
you guys heard what Will Compton said.
Say that again?
And you heard what Will Compton said on his podcast about it. So
22 third down plays?
25.
Yeah.
Jesus, help me.
25 third down plays. Great guy, offensive genius or defensive genius, chalkboard genius, horrible communicator, non-teacher, and definitely not a leader of men. And unfortunately, that means that Paul Gunther was in the wrong position and he needs to be in more of a support role instead of being the main guy, because you cannot be second guessing yourself, let alone you're the leader. So if you're second guessing yourself, it's going to show on the field that it did.
Yeah, like he was
Which
saying.
is weird to me. What's weird to me is, John Gruden's this quote unquote great leader and leader of men, and he surrounds himself with other people that are like minded. How does Paul Gunther get a job?
Well, that's your boy. That's your boy. Your boy says, "I'm sitting on the couch. I need a job, bro." You know what? Come on.
No, he wasn't even sitting on the couch. My man he was still
driving
the Bengals.
You're right. He was driving.
The Bengals let him go. Bengals said, "Go ahead. You want to go? Go ahead.
Please take him.
Take him off our hands."
Look, Marvin Lewis was like,
to the bottom of the chart.
I just really, that it is still a head scratcher to this day on why John Gruden brought him in. Just why? You knew after that 49ers game, I was like, okay, maybe John Gruden says, yeah, you're one and done. Bye. Boy, were we wrong.
I didn't think he was going to come back. I didn't think he was going to come back last year. I think that, honestly, the KC game saved him. I think it bought him a couple more games, but I didn't think he was going to come back. I really didn't.
When you look at that whole particular situation, it upset me. And the reason why it upset me was because of this. You brought in Rod Marinelli thinking that at some point that you were going to have to move on from Paul Gunther, which you inevitably did, which means that you should have moved on from him in the beginning and saved yourself and the team this headache, this heartache, this frustration. Because if you were that unsure of him going into the season, then why would you rock with him? If that was truly a change, and when you saw it, just in the difference in the games immediately after Paul Gunther was fired, there was better defensive play. I'm not going to sit here and say that they did what they needed to win, because they did not, but they played much better.
Ain't no lie. So, free safety.
We got Jeff Heath.
Hold on, say that again. Say that again.
We got Jeff Heath.
The mighty Jeff Heath to the rescue, right? That white lightning boy. That's all we need. We got a smart guy. He loves football. Jeff Heath is pretty damn good.
I saw a tweet. From Matt Fallon saying we lead the league in white safeties.
He wasn't lying.
Oh man.
Jeff Heath still hearing. He's still seeing stars after Sam Darnold knocked his ass out.
I'm sorry, but if you get trucked by a quarterback named Sam Darnold and you're out for the season, you might want to reevaluate. I'm sorry, but
fuck all that. If
Sam Darnold's hairline, bro, I'm just like,
hold on, Joe. If you the coach and you just watched your starting free safety just get knocked the fuck out by the quarterback in a goal line situation, how in the hell do you bring this man back?
I would understand if it was Ben Roethlisberger because he's like 300 pounds, but Sam Darnold, man, come on, bro. You can't get done like that.
220, 6'2", 220?
Sam's like 6'4". I think he's like 6'4", 220, something like that. I mean, he's about the size of a big wide receiver.
Smooth the fuck out, Kenny.
You heard that hit.
Sleeping.
Oh, it was bad.
Sleeping.
Yeah. No,
he
honestly,
laid out there like this.
Man.
Just
they had Simba out there trying to wake them up.
You know, they didn't have no crowd noise, so I think you could even hear them snoring on the field.
Nah, man, I heard that crossroad being played. Bum, 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 bum.
So where's Uncle Charles?
You know what I'm saying? Hold on.
Just came in like this.
Oh my God.
Oh.
But so rumor has it that Isaiah Johnson has said he would be available to play free safety if need be. I personally see that they will probably be drafting one in between the second and third rounds. I hope that they pick up the best available free safety in the draft, whoever that may be. When you look at the track record that Bradley and Milas have, you can only go with it, and you can only respect it, because everybody who plays for them is a desired commodity throughout the league and ends up getting paid. And you don't pay guys who can't play. So this secondary that they've constructed, I really look forward to see what can happen with a much improved coaching staff, a better game plan, a better scheme, and if these guys can play up to their potential.
No, I agree.
I agree with that one.
I agree.
But if we end up drafting any safety, I can really, I'm always vocal about having a midget in my secondary, but Washington, the other safety from TCU, when it comes to him understanding coverage, him being intelligent on the back end of the defense, like a Jeff Heath, but not getting knocked out like Jeff Heath, I can work with that. And he will come up and hit you. So that's the one time I'll say I take a 5'9" free safety over the great white Jeff Heath.
I mean, we already got two midgets back there, so
I know.
So we need to stop playing off of Jeff Heath's whiteness. Okay, his overall production was bad enough on its own for us to have to blame it on him being white. But they definitely need some help at the safety position, and I foresee this happening, or they may sign a guy after the draft, depending on who it is that they draft. But it's a sore spot, another one of those areas of need that they definitely need to be addressed. I love what they did with the defensive line thus far. There are a couple of guys I'd love to see drafted, Twyman out of Pittsburgh being one of them, although I know what they said about looking at guys who opted out. I don't see them taking guys that opted out last season.
You know what? You can't really believe everything they say, but I think if Twyman's there, they take him.
I would pray that they do.
That'd be a good move.
That's a strong boy. That boy be lifting cows. He be taking cows in here. And he from my area. He from DC. So to see another guy from DC, PG County area on that Raiders defense like Yannick, that would bring tears of joy to me.
As long as they produce, because I'm going to have to dog you if they don't.
I mean, Yannick.
Your helmet tough. Come out here, start fucking up. I'll be like, all this shit I've been hearing, all PG County this, it'd be like Durant.
I just wish I could just get a perfect brush for Durant, Just get them little beads.
He needs clippers. That boy needs clippers.
You need to just let it go.
I'm telling you. I'm telling you, you need some olive oil and a brush.
He
And
needs to cut that down so that the buckshot don't curl.
Look,
hey, bro. Look, I
take it
seen
from somebody who had to let it go.
I seen him up close, bro, and I was like, "Boy, if you don't brush that damn hair."
Oh, so the real question is whose hair was worse, his or Tim Duncan's?
I'm going KD, bro.
KD's is for sure worse.
Yeah, because it ain't even connecting anymore. At least Tim Duncan.
No,
like, come on, bro, you get a haircut and fix this. But, you don't have to look like this.
But you know whose hair is worse than all of them is Darren Williams. Boy had the full fade with a freaking bald spot.
Oh, yeah, I remember.
I mean, come on, bro. Boy had a clean lineup too. The lineup was clean.
Yeah, it was all good. It just had that plug.
He had that Manu Ginobili bald spot back there and just didn't even care. Didn't even hit up Billy Mays to get the GLH formula and say, "Hey, set me up."
Hey,
boy, just said no.
Real talk, Katie, since you from out here, you know what's up. So I don't understand how you could have brownie blends around the team at all times and never get a haircut from me.
Dog.
Bruh, you ain't never had a haircut from Brownie before. Before I started growing, he faded me up one time. I was like, oh my God. It's the cleanest fade I've ever had. And he's up there constantly cutting the Warriors player and did not touch Kevin Durant's head one time in 3 years.
He had to comb them down.
Nah, he was too busy trying to drink Scarlett Johansson's bathwater. Come on, man.
And if you ever have to wonder where it all went wrong, that's where you can point the finger at.
KD gonna come at me from his burner. Watch.
Well, now he's doing it from his own account these days, bringing your whole family and all other types of shit. But he ain't gonna do it right now. You good right now? Wait about 3 months.
Yeah.
Then when everybody forgot about it, then he gonna bring it back up.
I'm gonna have to call Michael Rapaport and be like, "Yo."
You know what I'm saying?
He gonna come in my DMs like JT the Brick, calling me an idiot or something. At like 3 a.m, I'm gonna get a DM. Idiot.
You know what I'm saying?
Hey, what is up with JT and them DMs, bro?
Hey,
JT don't realize that people screenshot those DMs. Like, I don't even think he cares, but
I don't.
He be saying some wild off like out of pocket shit. Like, hey, you sucker! What the fuck?
Yeah.
Bro,
what's wrong?
Take your blood pressure medication to chill the fuck out before you pop a gasket.
Yo, like JT be like, yeah, you talking all that good shit. I'm like, JT, I'm like, look, let's be real here. You know, if your ass is in that damn lot talking that shit on the DM, then go out there and be like, wow, howdy, you have a foot up your ass sooner or later. I'm like, Jesus, man. I'm like, you can't be reckless going into somebody's DM like that, man.
That's the way the world. Unfortunately, you see a lot of it. Way too much of these people being reckless with that.
I'm telling you, what's going to end up happening. I told folks, when you reckless in somebody's DM, because we didn't have nobody could go to the games last year, but everybody's going to the games this year. Oh, we're going to see a lot of shit getting settled.
Oh, yeah.
You know what? The funny thing is, I think this, I'm going to touch on this. This thing, this Twitter beef shit is so stupid to me. People beefing over some dumbass shit sometimes where it's like,
chugging.
It's like, you know what?
Chugging.
Oh, God. Don't even get me started.
It's the chugga game.
I'm just gonna say, we got to chug.
You got the eyes closed. Like, I'm just gonna say, that's it. But you know,
this is round 7. Round 7. You're out of the game. But no, honestly, man, this Twitter beef bullshit is bullshit. I think the people have had way too much time on their hands. People have had way too much stuff with no football games, no tailgates, nothing like that. Because I know anybody that's been to a Raider game, if you got beef with somebody, one, you settle that shit right then and there, which I very rarely see. Like I've had issues where I've gotten into it with people on Twitter, and then I see them at the tailgate, and I'm like, "What's up?" And they're like, "Oh, what's good?" Okay, we're good. What's up? Like, okay, and then you move on. I think that when you get to the opener, I think there's going to be a lot of people that talked a big game, that said that something's going to happen. Nothing's going to happen. You're going to have a drink. You're going to have a fun. You're going to be happy to be in Allegiant Stadium. You'll be happy to see that big old torch. You're going to be happy to actually be able to see a football game live again and party in Vegas. So I don't anticipate anything happening.
And don't let him fuck around.
That's how it should be.
Dude, you was talking all that shit to, you'd be hugging and buying drinks for.
Right?
Exactly.
But if it does come out to that, we can probably ask Dana White. We can borrow the Octagon.
Just make sure you watch out for Raider Tory. He on some other shit.
Yo, no, he's Niner Tory now, so we don't have to worry about him.
Yeah. There we go.
He's Chief Tory now. I'm sorry, but I do that. Yeah, that's a whole nother one. That one I don't mess with.
Yeah, they can have him.
Yeah, I don't.
Was it? Oh, that clown. Oh, that Tory. Yeah, I remember.
We just, just line him up against Uncle D and let those two go at it
with his musket. That's musket. You ain't shit. Bust out his
musket, bruh.
He can walk out with his little glove, slapping the shit out of people, talking about I challenge you to a duel.
Oh man, you've dishonored my family.
Brought shame to my name.
How dare you?
Nah, he shamed his own name when he tweeted about it.
First time I seen that shit, I was like, bruh, you might as well go ahead and shoot me now. Because by the time I can't even take you serious ever for any moment ever. What the fuck is that, bro? Does that thing even still shoot? What you finna do with that?
Man, that shit from 1875.
You're not shooting it. Are you gonna throw that motherfucker at me? Because I know that motherfucker, you gonna go to click and it just nothing gonna happen. Bro.
Hey, nah, bro, you still be pumping that gunpowder and that shit.
Oh yeah,
bruh. Oh hell no.
Oh man.
Oh man.
Oh shit. Oh, I'm sorry, yo.
Yeah.
Okay. We're gonna get ready to wrap this up.
I promise I won't make any more jokes.
Oh man.
Now he stole Django's gun.
Oh, that's musket.
Yeah, that shit from the
original 1911 from World War II.
He stole that gun. He stole that gun from the Got Milk commercial.
That motherfucker
that fool had the bullet that shot Aaron Burr.
Stealing heat from the Louvre.
Oh, you done made him get up and walk. He got up and left.
You know what?
I hate y'all. I do too.
I hate y'all. Robinson, you ain't shit.
Oh man.
I'm crying.
Oh.
You got me crying, you asshole.
Let's just give it up for Uncle D one time.
Oh man.
The gift that just keeps on giving and we just barely scratched the surface.
Man, I ain't hitting that other one.
No, we're gonna leave that one alone.
No.
The FCC would shut us down. We'll be facing multiple lawsuits, and then
we'll save that one for Pepe.
I'm not ready to be that unfiltered.
Man.
I'm just gonna keep it at that. I'm not ready to be that unfiltered.
Now
Oh,
that tweet should be put in the Twitter Hall of Fame.
Legend.
you know what? I still have that shit screenshotted. I was like, that shit
Bruh.
can't disappear. It has to be known. It's got to be passed down to generation to generation.
And
And for a moment, this shit happened. And
honestly, off of just those 2 tweets, he should be verified. He really should, so that everybody. Oh, you're that dude.
He just needs to pin that tweet.
I really want to say it, but I can't say it, bro.
Don't say it.
No, don't say it, please. Please don't.
Look, I'm gonna have a family member pop up on my show. They be like, "Damn,
6 minutes without saying it. I'm gonna see if you can do it."
Well,
it'd be like that. It'd be like that Kevin Hart skit talking about Uncle Richard Jr. Grandma fake fame and everything.
We could probably say Uncle D was the best person that pitch and woo on Twitter. You know, Uncle D, you know,
There's a reason why his name is Uncle D.
He loves the D. Woo, Jesus help me.
The views expressed by me.
You know, the D, that D, you know, the capital D is very important in his life.
Very much so. He loves it.
You know, he said he's the best.
The best. And that's when you talk about Uncle D.
Oh, shit. You can't make this shit up, ladies and gentlemen. You can't make it up.
So just to royally piss everybody off who we haven't offended with talks about Uncle D, Ian Rapaport put out a tweet this morning talking about all the homework that the Raiders have done on the quarterbacks this season. Mayock has said that the first thing Mayock ever talks about in the draft is trading back. Honestly, that pisses me off too. I would like to think after 3 years, you've identified a franchise-changing talent that would be worth moving up to select. I would hope that, especially given that all of the guys that you lift on and have seen those types of players be in the proximity of your drafts would have occurred. If one of the quarterbacks would be to fall, it would probably be Trey Lance. What would you think about Trey Lance being signed, being drafted, and moving up to get him and keeping him to sit behind Derek for his last couple years as a Raider?
Good question. I think that with all the other needs that we have, I don't see the Raiders taking a quarterback. I think that if they get a guy like Trey Lance, I think he would be a good guy to add. Somebody who can sit behind Derek, who can learn. He's dynamic. He can make plays. He's still a little rough around the edges, so he's somebody who's going to need to learn the offense, learn the system. But then you look at the quarterback room. You've got Derek. You've got Marcus. You've got Peterman. And so there's some moves that need to be made. Obviously, you know, Marcus could be a very, very good trade target. He's somebody that, you know, could be a starter on another team. He's somebody who could be, you know, he could easily step into a role somewhere, but he's a solid backup as well. He's somebody that, you know, if Derek goes down, if there's a situation where we need somebody to step in, that he's somebody that can do it. You know, the question is, you know, do you trade down and do you go after a quarterback when, you know, we have those glaring needs? I think that Derek has proven himself that he's, you know, a starter in this league. He's proven himself to be the leader of this, you know, of the offense. He's done very well in this system. I know that there's obviously some concerns with the red zone issues. There's been concerns with turnovers and fumbles. Those are things that are correctable. And I think that also when you have more scoring in the red zone, if you're able to fix that, you know, the turnovers become less of an issue. I think that, you know, you don't want to have turnovers. And I'm not saying that, you know, we're going to overlook that, but I'm saying that, you know, we can start looking at scoring more points. I think the other thing is, you know, like I said, is, you know, if we move down and Trey Lance is the only one, or move up and Trey Lance is the only one available, does it make sense to move up for a quarterback when we have all the other needs? I would say if he falls to 17 and the Raiders feel that strongly about him, then go for it. But I don't see it happening.
you hear the talk about Fields dropping. I mean, if we go through history and we saw Aaron Rodgers drop, you saw, Brady Quinn drop, but Brady Quinn wasn't all that. But
I wanted to draft Brady Quinn too. That's the crazy thing. A long time ago, I wanted Brady Quinn.
I wanted Megatron.
Brave to admit that. I respect it.
I wanted Megatron at the time.
I wanted Megatron too. Anybody but Jamarcus.
Oh,
I don't think anybody wanted Jamarcus coming out of college, except for Al. I think that I think everybody kind of knew what we were getting with Jamarcus. I think everybody knew what Jamarcus was going to be. I thought Jamarcus might. The funny thing is, Jamarcus actually had flashes where it was like, oh, this guy actually might have his shit together, and then all of a sudden he would just go back to the same old bullshit. But yeah, there's been so many whiffs that the Raiders have had. I think that if we look at the draft, I think the Raiders the 2014 draft was the best labeled draft. One of the best labeled drafts of the decade. And that was their most solid draft. You get Mack in the first, you move back and you get Carr, you got Gabe Jackson. And so that was a really solid draft, but we haven't had that. And I think that this year is an opportunity for the Raiders to maybe do that again and have a really solid draft. But it starts with taking Micah Parsons at 17.
Yeah, definitely. But if you did see Fields drop down to 17, would you take him?
If Fields dropped to 17, you kind of have to. I think that, I think it's one of those things where you kind of have to, because you're like, shit, if he's sitting there, you have to. I don't see it happening. I don't see it, I don't see, that's a crazy scenario, but I think if he drops to 17, you kind of have to, because then it also gives you some pieces. Because then you can say, well, look, we've got Fields, we like Carr. We want, we could trade for this. We could do that. We could make some moves here. We could do a lot of different things with that. So I don't think it's outside the realm of possibility that if it were to happen in some crazy universe that he dropped to 17, then they could make that move. But it's one of those things that if he was there, then you kind of have to go with it.
No, I agree wholeheartedly.
Yeah.
And then perhaps potentially look at trading back into the first round to pick up a Parsons or a Owusu Koromoa.
Yeah.
And try to go for the twofer. But it's really gonna come down to how brave Mayock and Gruden feel during this draft. And I sincerely hope that they are ready in a mindset that they need to win, and they need to win now, and they need electrifying players on the field that are going to produce and put Vegas over the top. Because another you can't finish 500 anymore with a 17-game season, and 9-10 wins is not going to get you anything.
No.
You're going to have to start winning 11 more.
Yeah.
I think that, like I said, I think that this team, they're putting in the work. And what I like seeing is that they're out there putting in that work at the park. They're doing things together. The team is working together. People are out there. You're seeing more guys out there this year too, and not just the offensive players, but you're seeing Abram out there. You're seeing some of the linemen out there. So I think that's one of the biggest things. Yannick was out there a couple days ago. So that's one of the biggest things is this team is coming together. This team is gelling. This team knows. I think Derek has set the expectation for himself. Like, it's now or never. Like, we're going into year 8. There's expectations that are out there. I think that anybody will tell you that. Even Cody will tell you that there's expectations out there. The Raiders need to get into the playoffs. The Raiders need to get into the playoffs, not only get in, but win some games in the playoffs. Make some waves, make some noise. And we're not talking about just getting to wild card and winning wild card weekend. I think the sky is the limit for this team. This team has the ability. They have the skill set on offense to be an AFC West contender, an AFC contender. But they need to put the pieces together. They need to get everything together on defense. They need to be able to stop players, or they need to be able to stop scoring. They need to be able to score. There's a lot of things that need to happen, but I think that they can put it together.
Definitely. Consistency is the largest issue on both sides of the ball.
Yeah.
And being consistent all the way through, rather than being a 10-week team, going 6-4 through week 11, and that's been where the wheels have fallen off in the last couple of years. So some consistency late in the season, better health, and who knows? Perhaps switching out the older linemen for younger guys whose bodies are more stable and will hold up will prove to be the move that puts us over the top. I don't know. But I know that the run blocking last season was not good, and Josh Jacobs was not as good as he could have been either.
Yeah. No, I agree with that wholeheartedly. I also like the addition of Kenyon Drake. I think that, he gives a nice change of pace. He gives a lot of speed. He's somebody that can, break it open. So I'm curious to see how this offensive line works out. I think that's the biggest question mark, right? We talk about, and I think here's the biggest thing. You talk about losing Trent Brown, right?
Yeah.
Realistically, we didn't really have Trent Brown.
Yeah.
We had him on a 16-game loaner. And so I don't think Brandon Parker's the guy. I don't think that anybody on that roster right now is the guy at right tackle. I think the Raiders are going to draft somebody, but I think, I'm curious to see how this offensive line comes together, being younger, being, supposed to be more mobile, agile, hostile. We'll see. If Richie can stay healthy, that's huge.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
And like I tell folks, Raiders don't need to go in the first round or second round to get a tackle. They can go third, fourth, fifth, and still get a decent guy. And one guy that stuck out to me has been Spencer Brown from Northern Iowa. And he has the speed, versatile, pass blocking, run blocking has been solid. And getting the coaching and guidance from Tom Cable will be a major plus for him. And you could probably have two guys. You got Colton right there, and then have him on that side. That could be a whew. You got Towers blocking, protecting you. Ain't nobody getting past them. I love it. So
young and motivated, and hasn't. And one of them has been paid, and the other one hasn't.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I like the progression of Colton Miller, though. I will say that.
I do too. I think that was a good move, and at some point you've got to start being in a position to extend in your number one draft picks. If you can't keep them, if they're not playing for you, that's a huge problem in itself, because that means every year you're wasting the draft.
Yeah, I mean, I want to see. It's something I saw for Colt. Something that can happen for Colton Miller. It's called. It's a bubble. It's basically like a bubble screen. Your left tackle goes out. Once you throw to the wide receiver, left tackle gets out there. He's going to loop around the wide receiver. Wide receiver lateral. He basically laterals it right back to the left tackle. Let him run in for the end zone. I mean, look, I know it's crazy, but when you see it, you're like, damn.
I think if we still had David Sharp, that would be more. I think that would be a better option, because David Sharp is a lot more athletic in that sense. I don't know. I mean, I've never seen Colton run, but David Sharp was a hooper, so I would anticipate him being able to do that a little bit better, or like a Donald Penn. Donald Penn moved good, that's crazy.
Hey, if I can find it, I'm going to show it to you, because you're going to be like, what the hell?
Yeah, post that. I want to see that.
All right. But other than that, you guys,
we want to thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. It's been a blast. We'll have to do this again, make you a regular, all types of that shit.
Man, this was fun.
I want to thank our listeners, everybody out there who's turning in the first time or who's been with us through all 100 episodes. We appreciate you. We love you. Thank you for all sticking with us through the tough times, through the good times, all of that shit.
Through the madness and all that crazy. Crazy. We're gonna try to get that call line back up, but I had some crazy calls back in the day.
Do you do a call line on your show, Kenny?
I don't. We do it on Cody's show when we do the post games. We'll take some calls, but I haven't set it up on my show yet. I talked about it. I kicked it around, but I haven't done. I let Cody handle all that on his show. I don't want to deal with the calls right now.
Right.
Man,
I hate getting called. I hate
one
dealing
drink
with calls
call,
after
like,
losses.
you get them drunk calls like 95-7 the game.
Ooh.
Oh God,
man.
those are bad. First time caller, long time listener.
Uh-oh. Take a deep
That
breath. I'm about to
fucking
go
guy,
on the line.
man.
I'll tell you about what chaps my ass. Like, oh boy, here we go.
You know what's funny is I remember when we first started doing the pod together. Cody would get all these kind of crazy calls at the end of the show, and I would sit there and I would make my comments to the calls. And we had one dude that kept calling, just drunk out of his mind, like burping, hiccuping, talking on the phone. I'm like, dog, like, think before you dial, man. Like we're gonna play this. This is recorded, and I'm gonna say something to it. So yeah, nah, that I can't do the calls, man. But guys, congratulations, man. Congratulations on 100 episodes. That's a huge milestone. You guys are killing it out there. Keep doing what you're doing. I know that you guys have been working hard, grinding. Anything that I can do, if you guys want to get me on, I'm always down to come on. Just don't talk about Jeff Heath, all right?
So, okay, Jeff Heath is all
Savior, bro. That's all we need.
Come on, man.
Can we still keep
me?
Uh,
Pull up on me.
oh
man.
Maybe Abram will take Heath out instead of a video crane this year.
and himself.
And not his teammates.
We'll have to end it on that note, y'all. It's been a blast. 100 episodes in the books. Kenny,
you know what? Before that, since you brought up Abrams, I think I'm ready to dance battle him.
You gonna set your dance battle to Shirley Caesar? You gonna put
Cleveland game?
Shirley Caesar, let it go. Greens, potatoes.
Oh God.
You name it.
Yo, I'm mad I added that bad boy. I was like, nah, we ain't doing the thick. Now we're gonna do you name it.
Oh my God.
But Kenny, once again, I appreciate you joining us tonight. Really do. And all the fans. Definitely, man. All the fans out there, for you guys joining us on the long, crazy run, thank you so much. And remember, subscribe to the YouTube page, The Unfiltered Truth. You guys, if you just tuning in, I know you guys on the West Coast got stuck in that wild, disturbing traffic that you guys have on your freeways. The show has been uploaded. You guys can catch it on the Facebook page, catch it on our website, theunfilteredtruth.com, and you guys can go on Spotify, search for The Unfiltered Truth, and enjoy it. Other than that, you guys enjoy your weekend. Wear your mask. Get drunk. Avoid the chugging brigade if you can, and be safe. I'm out. Phil's out. Kenny's out. I know they're ready to eat, and I'm ready to drink. So y'all take care.
All right.